Hey everyone, Joe here from Espresso Outlet. Just want to take a few minutes today and talk about the DF series of grinders. This one here is DF64, but largely the entire product line is very similar in the way they need to be maintained and from time to time the repairs that are required on these. We get support requests and inquiries on occasion that generally revolve around things like the power button or alignment of the burrs, but by and large this is a very well-built, rugged series of grinders. They're tanks, and what is especially nice about them is they are very easy to work on. And when you get into some of the other grinders, especially the higher end, most people can't take them apart and work on them. They're a little more complicated, but these are really easy. So this one here, it was sent back in, and the customer said, the customer believed it was a power button. And the symptoms were, it was getting harder and harder to start up. Sometimes it wouldn't start up at all. And, it was acting strange. And it's not a behavior that's typical of these grinders. So we got it back today. And I just want to say, and this is not anything specific to this customer or any customer, but there are a lot of people that they use these grinders as workhorses and don't pay attention to some of the things that are very important. So probably the best way you can look at it, it doesn't matter if it's your house or your car, even a brand new car. You have to do some occasional maintenance. You have to change the oil, you have to check the air in the tires. Otherwise, your car is going to stop running. And these are no different. So this one came back today. And as you can see inside the chute here, there is, it's completely jammed. So one of the things that we recommend every couple weeks, you can split the top here, and you can probably see down in there, there's tons of beads, nowhere for them to go. To get the top off here, just simply unthread it. If you notice on this piece, you usually have one side of it that is marked with a marker. If you don't see a mark, probably be a little proactive and get a Sharpie and just make a dot on one of them so you know which way it goes back in. It doesn't really matter other than from an alignment perspective. So we have a lot of material inside of there. I'm gonna empty this out real quick. So once you have the top off, when they come in and if you open your grinder and it's like this, it probably is going to need a little extra help to get this out. The brush isn't going to do the job. But I've got a little plastic pick here, and there's really nothing you're going to break in here. I wouldn't use a metal screwdriver or anything like that, but just getting kind of the clumped up stuff out. Then you can kind of go in with a brush and just break it up as much as you can. And same thing with the chute. A lot of the grinders, most of them have a chute, a brush that comes with it. You want to be careful in here because there's at the very top, there's a couple of pins that stick down inside the chute that are for the plasma generator, they look like the end of a thumbtack. Again, when it's, when they come in and they have this much buildup in them, you're probably going to need a little more than the brush. The other thing too with the brush, at the very end here, there is a plastic declumper, so you're not going to be able to push all the way through into the burr chamber. You'll feel when it stops. You don't want to push very hard because it will damage the declumper. Empty this again. Okay, now that we got that cleaned out for the most part, you can see down in there, there's still quite a bit. So we want to try and get that the best that we can. And make sure that it's all broken up. Another thing with these that creates some issues is RDT. RDT works to get rid of the static, but it is possible to maybe over wet your beans a little bit. This stuff turns muddy, and then it dries, and then it basically turns to cement at that point. So you want to kind of be careful how much water you're using, and again, just taking care of your grinder and maintaining it regularly. So lastly, if we look down in there now, we're getting to a point where there's still a lot in there, but it's pretty clean. So one of the other things, if you go to pretty much any grocery store, hardware store, you can get the compressed air in a can and just kind of run through here, and it works really well, although it is a little messy at times. We're gonna blow this one out. It's gonna be a mess, but it'll definitely get the rest of the coffee out. So as you can see, it's pretty messy sometimes using the air, but it does clean it out really well. Now, before you put your grinder back together, a couple things you want to look at. You definitely want to make sure that everything is out of your threads. Very important. The coffee, it can actually turn into a pasty and kind of a glue substance and make it really hard to get the collar off. And then, you also run the chance of damaging the threads over time. So yeah, definitely just take a moment and wipe down the threads, and then, you can use a little bit of Vaseline, or, on our website, we actually have some food grade lubrication that can go on the threads here and make sure that they'll stay tight. So putting it back together, I like to give the burrs a good look. It's not uncommon, not unheard of for small rocks to find their way in bags of coffee. These burrs look pretty good. So we're gonna take our marked piece here, line it up, collar back on. Now, once you have it on a few threads, one of the things that you're gonna wanna do is plug it in, turn it on. Now, notice the grinder had 0 issue starting up. First time it had been started, so we know the power button on this one's good. We're gonna take it all the way down until we lightly hear the burrs chirp. And there we are, we have our 0 point about right there. One other thing to add here, if you look at the 0 point here, you know, over time this can change a little. If you change the burrs, it can change. And we do have on the website, there is a sticker replacement that goes over this. So, you know, if like me, you know, you want your 0 point right at 6 o'clock, it's a really easy job to replace the sticker out. If it doesn't bother you, it's, you know, not obviously hurting anything. So, other than that, that's it. You know, regular maintenance on these things, make sure they stay clean. And, you know, every couple weeks, you know, every couple hours of use, split the top, get a little can of compressed air, blow it out, brush out the chute. And, you know, these things last forever if you treat them right. So again, thanks for watching. And as always, if you have questions or anything, reach out.